Hey YouTube! What's in the bag? I'm just doing this because I've not actually seen it yet. This is a Gretsch that has been... The guy wants to put... The owner wants me to put in P90 pickups because... I've not even seen this. Oh, it's quite fancy, isn't it? It really is. And look at these pickups. They've got like... These called staple ones that have got kind of... Yeah. So then I'm just going to do a quick before video to see what these pickups sound like and why they're getting changed. I got stick a quick strap on it. So we've got a Bigsby on this one, proper Gretsch knobs. It's got a number on it. Oh, the number was on the. So this is a streamliner G2622T-P90. This might actually be very similar to the one I had before, the cherry red one, very much a 335. It was a streamliner. It might be the same one, but with slash P90 in a different colour, and it's got a Bigsby. So I mentioned them when we were in Jim Egypt's guitar shop with Scott. Scott was talking about Gretsch pickups, and his view was the pickups are good, but if you've got two Gretsches, like if you're, because he used to be a sound guy, that's fine, but the difference is if you've got like a... What I'm going to do is I'm going to ditch this strap. I'm terrified to drop it. I know I've said that, I've got to ditch the strap in case I drop it. Our squeaky roto sound strap, that'll do. That one just, the reason that one was lying on the floor is because it's a little bit frayed at the end bit. I was like, I don't know how to drop it, especially when it's not my guitar. So, and it sounds pretty good actually, to be honest. Neck back up. The bridge pickup's a lot quieter than the neck one. What do you do if the volume controls up? So I think on a Gretsch you've got like a bridge volume, and then a neck volume, and then a tone, and then you can set your middle sound and then turn the whole thing down with a master volume. That face was just because it doesn't have a hatch on the back, so swapping the pickups out and then having to wire over to the different knobs is going to be a nightmare. Although it's not actually going to be that bad. Depends how long the wires are, because to get all the electrics in, you have to go in through the bridge pickup hole and then slide it through. Yeah, well, I think the reason the neck pickup is so much louder is actually if you push the string down, it totally hits off the pickups. Like totally. So basically the neck pickup which seems to be at a decent volume, is because it's so high up. Does that mean about Bixby? That's wailing a Bixby. So it's not, you don't get that like you get on a Floyd Rose. So yeah, I can kind of see when I haven't touched the settings on the amp, so this is significantly quieter. The neck pickup isn't, but that's because the neck pickup's so high up. That's the volume it should be. That could be brought up a fair bit actually. I wonder if I can just release that a little bit. Screwdriver. I'll raise this up till it's hitting the strings as well, and it might make it balance out a little bit better. Okay, we're maybe not quite as high as that. That's a bit insane. Try to pull it up. It's either be on springs or be on a sponge. It doesn't really want to come up any higher. Lovely guitar again. The other one, Gretsch's 8B. This one, I think, I'm not a Bigsby fan, but on this guitar makes sense. I think, see if you've got one on like a Telly or an SG or a Les Paul, it doesn't work for me the same way. Whereas on a massive guitar, when all you really want is, you know, a bit of a, but actually you're bending down the way. Obviously tuning putting strings on Bigsby's is great fun as well, because you got to like kind of wrap it round and put it on a stupid spike thing, then it's got to go under this. I've actually heard that the best way of doing a Bigsby is actually, instead of going in below this bar, like the way most folks set it up, if you put it over the top, you don't get the same tuning issues, apparently, because you're reducing the break angle on the bridge. So maybe if you overstring it, even though it kind of, looking at it, aesthetically it's much more pleasing, the string going round there and under this bar. Apparently if you put it over the bar, it's much better. Not tried that, it's not my guitar. I don't actually have a guitar with a Bigsby. Yep, so part one of the video, I managed to make it 10 minutes, so this will be a 20 minutes. So the next bit I will have swapped over the pickups, and I've done enough 335s, so I don't get really that annoyed doing it. I just accept the fact that you've got to sit there with bits of string and stuff. I think there might actually be some sort of tool to do it, but I don't have that. So it's just a case of time and messing about. I can actually get my finger to these. I can actually get my finger to the backs of the pots, like through the F-hole, so that makes it so much easier. Like, because if you can't do that, you end up trying to tighten it up, to get it through the holes the first half of the battle, because you do get hollow guitars that don't have F-holes. So what you have to do then is you get the pot through, and it's like you manage to get the nut on, so it's like, right, have a rest, and then you've got to hold like the shaft from the top and then tighten up behind it. fidgety. There was a Gibson one which I remember my pal Jim had that was, it was a 3.3 something, but it was a sort of cheaper, the studio version or the cheaper version. It was like £200 or £300 cheaper than the normal one. It was basically exactly the same guitar apart but a plastic hatch here cut, just because, so that basically you can just like take the hatch off. Oh look, there's the pots. Woohoo! Da, 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 da. Nice and easy. You can get at it. Whereas this thing, I'm going to have to solder it all up here and then poke it all in. That's sounding very unprofessional, but ultimately yes. Poke it all in to make it work. So, lovely guitar, really cool looking pickups. I'll give them a 10 out of 10 for look. You know, just like, and I think what I've got to put in it is, I wonder what colour he's chosen. I've not even looked at this. Is the first time I've taken it out. That's why I did the wee what's in the box at the start. Oh, he's chosen silver ones. Yeah, so he's got silver Wilkinson pickups. So we'll see how they do compared to that. He says he's got the Wilkinson pickups in another, and I think it said it was a Les Paul he had, and this is just not. These are not P90s, so I don't know. I hope they do sound more P90, and it's not more to do with the, you know, the construction of the guitar being a hollow body and stuff. It's never really going to sound exactly like a Les Paul or whatever guitar it was he had it in it. But I'm pretty sure that the Gretschy ones, this will be. Probably when we're talking, me and Scott were talking about it, it's probably the volume wise and sort of tone wise, these are probably much more voiced to be your Filtertrons or your thing. These actually have a funny name. They're not called P90s, they're called something Otron. So there's my afternoon set out for me. I'll sit and fanny about with this. Rock on! And I'm back. So now we have Wilkinson P90s fitted to this Gretsch. Not touched anything. The amp and even the same loop is still in there. So here we go. Both pickups. Neck pickup. Neck pickup's not as loud because I don't have it. It's not as high up. The other one was set too high, basically. So the strings would have hit off it, whereas now they're not. So we'll put it on. We'll put it back up. Gretsch. To mention, in the first part of the video I mentioned that apparently it's better to put the strings over the top of this roller on a Bigsby rather than putting them under. So that's what I did. It's not what actually, well, if I'm actually telling the truth, what happened was I put the first 5 strings on, I put the 6th one on, I thought, oh, I forgot to put it under, then I realised I'd forgotten to put all of them under. But I mentioned it before that in the early videos. I thought, right, yes, if I hadn't mentioned it, I would have put it on properly. But this way, they're over the top, so the owner can decide whether it's a better thing or not. So maybe that's made a bit of a difference to the sounds. So I mean, to be honest, they're a little bit more bitey, these pickups, and also been a little bit deceitful as well. See, you put the volume up to full this time. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna love this. This is exactly what you wanted. The the owner, when he's like, P90s are a bit more bite. It's exactly what these Wilkinson one does, and they're not expensive. I think it was 35 quid for a pair or something like that. And they're not, the filter, they're not, they had a cool name, something Tron, did look really cool with the staple type tops on them. But that's kind of the same as the you know, their humbuckery pickups. They kind of look unbelievably cool, but they're just not very loud. It's like, that's part of what they're doing, you know. I mean, that is the Gretsch sound, where this maybe doesn't sound like a Gretsch anymore. I'm not sure about the overwrapping thing. I'm hearing these things going on, sort of. Just a little bit. Go for a bit of fuzzy, go for it just being silly. But it's a, arguably it's a bit 335-y, so. So it's definitely more to my taste now, although the other pickups did look awesome. These are much more bitey. These are P90s, you know, proper. It's got a bit more claws now. I don't really want to slag off the Gretsch ones, because it depends what it is you're trying to do with it. I'm not really a Gretsch fan. This one's, I much prefer this one to the one I had a couple of months ago. Maybe just, the one I had was like cherry red, so like all 335s are cherry red, sort of thing. So just having it a different colours maybe something to do with it. The Bigsby seems to, it looks cool and it does something. And now it's got powerful pickups in it. I mean, did you like a wee trick earlier on when I had the volume? I just turned the volume down to there, and they, to be honest, they kind of sound, I don't know, with the volume at 3/4, they kind of sound 90% like the Gretsch ones, I think. So you're not really losing any of the sounds. Maybe a bit more bite to the bridge. But then obviously it's got so your guitar's ready. Come pick up whenever you want. Now I've done a video for it. I'll probably put this out tomorrow night. It's nice. After the Jimmy Egypt's guitar video, which I put out on Saturday, Scott just be a text who talks about these things. He was talking about that, and it says that these are really good value for money. They're excellent guitars. The only problem is the entire range has shit tuners on it. And I thought, oh, not bad, but see, now that it's been pointed out, they're not really good. They are a bit sort of imprecise. Like when you're trying to tune it, you're turning it and it's not doing anything for a wee bit, sort of thing. They're not. I mean, they look all right, and they're relatively smooth to turn. They feel quite good, but when you actually go to turn them, they're just kind of a bit. unresponsive. I suppose maybe a little bit like the actual Gretsch pickups, which are kind of, they're all there, they're just not quite loud enough. These are sort of all there and look good and sound good. They're not quite. So I mean, it's worthwhile. I would maybe, if I was going to do any upgrades to this, if this was my guitar, putting in these pickups. It's a pity I couldn't get the stapled cool looking covers to fit from those pickups onto this. Then you'd have these pickups that look like the cool ones. And I would possibly change the tune. I wouldn't change the tuners. I would just moan about them all the time. But if you were going to change them, you just getting a set of like Wilkinson, sort of 25-30 quid. If they really annoy you, just do that. I don't know, Wilkinson pickups. I've not really come across any Wilkinson pickups that went really good as well, but I've got a few guitars that I've got. In fact, there's my... am I going to be able to do this without knocking it over? It's not connected. Aye, they're Grovers. Well, they're Wilkinson Grovers, and those tuners are excellent. They're not original to the guitar; they've been replaced, but I think they would just pop straight on there without any issue. I think for, I don't know, 25-30 quid or something like that could be worth it if the tuning annoys you. But again, I've already done a review of this guitar because mine didn't have the tremolo and didn't have the P90s. It's the Filtertron copies or whatever they are. But apparently as well, I'm talking to the owner of this one, I can't remember his name. David. He was saying that the real Gretsches have, you know, the expensive Gretsches, these are sort of 400 or 500 quid, something like that. So, you know, the ones that are a couple of £1,000 apparently, oh, they sound really good. But according to Scott, no, these are the ones you get in, not these ones, but you know, the Filtertronic copies are very close to the real ones. It's not a massive difference between the two. They're really good copies. It's just the original concept idea is for a different thing. You know, if you're trying to, I don't know, play early Beatles stuff, who else plays as a Gretsch? You know, it's like, I think it just depends on what music it is you're wanting, what you like and what it is you want to sound like. I suppose Malcolm Young uses a Gretsch with just one pickup in it. He seems to sound really rocking, maybe stand in front of a big wall of Marshalls and playing like Malcolm Young, who's fantastic. I mean, in many ways it's easier to play Angus's stuff than it is to play Malcolm's, because he is just a pure rock machine. It's like, if anyone's ever tried to play like proper rhythm guitar, I mean, like where you're doing it the way Malcolm Young does, where it's totally so regimented. It's exactly on time the whole time. Tom Fogerty, John Fogerty's brother in Creedence Clearwater Revival's the same. You know, he's got the whole song just going for 8 minutes, and aye, hear the ringing. So maybe the going over the top thing isn't the way to do a Bigsby. You're bing. Not turned up. I mean, I could probably do 2 bars of that pretty easy, 4 bars of that relatively easily, but once you start getting on to 8 bars, you go, oh, no, you've got to just go. It's really obvious, that ringing, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe it's just that chord. No, it's all chords. Maybe it's not the same as all guitars, but that whole thing about going over the top of the bar, I don't know what a load of rubbish that is. Unless you like. Maybe if you're, I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't like that. Anyhow, Gretsch, was it a streamliner G2622T-P90 Bernstein, which they've abbreviated what I think is brownstone by removing the O, basically removing 2 O's. So instead of just saying brownstone, it's Bernstein. So it's like, you're just like, well, actually if you look at the size of the label, that's it right at the edge of the label. So it's like you're sitting there going like that, oh, you know, just putting it BS, I suppose that's bullshit, so it can't be, or B stone. It's like, you know, it's like, no, they've just gone, we'll just make it a little bit smaller. Well, we don't really, how do you abbreviate that? Just take the O's out so it's Bernstein pickle. Rock on!